Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. Yesterday, we got to see the visuals, the stunning, beautiful, pristine waters and the beaches of Lakshadweep when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was making a visit over there. He in fact was soaking in the beautiful weather and the skies and the seas of Lakshadweep. And that brings me to the discussion point over here, how tourism has been boosted in Lakshadweep. In fact, a number of these statements that came in from the Prime Minister on his social media posts mentioned about how there is so much to explore and tourism needs to be given the impetus that Lakshadweep brings onto the table. I start my conversation with the number of stakeholders when it comes to tourism that needs to be escalated, increased in Lakshadweep. Starting my conversation with Vikash Goyal. He is the Chief Strategy Officer for easemytrip.com. Vikash, I would like to understand from you about the number of tourists, domestic and international, who book their tickets to travel to Lakshadweep on an annual basis.
First of all, thank you for having me on the show. So Lakshadweep is still, so if I have to talk about Lakshadweep, Lakshadweep has been in news a lot after Mr. Shri Narendra Modi's visit to the island, very recent visit over there. So Lakshadweep is a set of 36 islands, out of which only 10 are inhabited right now. And there's a huge potential for that to grow over there. There are a lot of people who've been do not have the right information. So I have to talk about the bookings. So still with the low amount of infrastructure that is there are few people who are aware of it and are visiting that place for the tourism purposes. But I feel there's a huge amount of scope where we can increase the tourism over there. A lot of scope over there. And with this particular visit, I feel that there is this has become one of the bucket list items for a lot of netizens, and this will grow in the future.
Absolutely. Vikash, if you could shed more light into which are the popular seasons when people are thronging the beaches of Lakshadweep. Because you would know, you would know the statistics, you would know because the number of people, and how many are these, what percentage of them are foreign nationals and what percentage of them are domestic tourists?
So if I have to talk about some amount of numbers, so in 2022, somewhere around 0.1 million foreign visitors visited Lakshadweep Island. And if I have to compare the similar number with, say, the citizens of, say, the domestic people, so overall on a basis, say, there were somewhere around 22 million people who sort of were reported in 2022 in Lakshadweep, out of which only 0.1 were foreign nationals, which means that this particular destination is definitely being promoted or is visible within the territories of India, and it has a limited presence across the world.
Okay. And if you compare to the popular tourist destinations across the country, if we take a look at Kerala, we take a look at Goa, we take a look at Kashmir, what is the comparison that we see?
So, if I have to take compare it with the other locations like Kerala and all others, so those other destinations have been popularized as tourism destinations and see a significant amount of footfall. Whereas Lakshadweep has always been a slightly a place that has not been popularized much for the tourism purposes. So say, if I have to compare on an absolute basis, I think Lakshadweep would not even be like 5-10% over there of the tourism that the others would be seeing approximately.
That's interesting. So how do you propose now after the Prime Minister's visit? Obviously, it has been the talk of the town. Every single person across the country has seen those visuals. And those visuals are stunning because the waters are pristine, the beaches are clean, you have ample sunlight over there. It's a complete package that an individual and their family or friends or whosoever they are going with can enjoy. So what more can be done to promote Lakshadweep?
Lakshadweep is an excellent choice, which can be promoted to a excellent tourist destination within India. In fact, many of the people have also started saying that Lakshadweep could be the next Maldives of India. That ways. So all we need to do is we need to start promoting a sustainable tourism over there. So Lakshadweep still being very pristine, untouched beauty that exists. We need to maintain. So we need to promote sustainable tourism over there, where it remains as unexplored or as pristine as it currently is, and we're able to promote tourism over there. We can start, say, organizations like Eastman Trip. They have been working with multiple tourism boards across the country and internationally. Uh, we'll start working with Lakshadweep Tourism Board as well in order to promote tourism over there through online channels, through offline channels, and we can make it a very good destination for all the people over there.
Do you also receive help and assistance from the government bodies to allow for this kind of promotion to be built internationally and domestically?
Government has been more than supportive uh, for organizations like us to promote tourism in respective locations. And we strongly believe that now with our Prime Minister visiting Lakshadweep as an Lakshadweep location, we'll definitely see a good amount of support. We'll receive good amount of support from the Lakshadweep Tourism Board as well to promote that as a location and building it as a tourist destination.
When you also talk about the cost factor, for example, if I was a tourist and wanted to travel to Maldives, or we wanted to travel to Bali, because those are the more attractive, quote unquote, more attractive destinations, versus my choice of going to Andaman Nicobar Islands, or for that matter Lakshadweep over here. What is the cost factor, comparable cost factors?
So, firstly, those are currently the locations because that's the location that's being promoted and people have visited. But what I also strongly feel is that if we start, someone who would have visited Lakshadweep would like it more because it has that unexplored feeling over there versus a large amount of crowd that exists on the all the other locations. If I have to purely talk about the cost factor, then definitely Lakshadweep would be much more cheaper. And as the government starts to promote tourism over there, there is more amount of connectivity, there's more amount of infrastructure that get built. The cost definitely comes down significantly. And at the same time, with more amount of tourism that is flowing into Lakshadweep, that'll give more sort of living to the local residents also over there, and that'll support the nation in the growth.
Okay. All right. So those are some important points that Vikash, thank you for sharing with us. Stay on with me for the rest of the discussion as well. On the telecast with me is also Sharad Kohli. Now, Sharad, you heard these important factors, statistics that make Lakshadweep a very lucrative, a very attractive destination. And how should the government and private entities work together to put Lakshadweep on the world map? Because like I said, and and Vikash mentioned that as well, that it is cheaper to travel to Lakshadweep than it is to travel and have a vacation in a Maldives or in a Bali.
Well, Megha, the best step forward was for the Prime Minister to be seen, there in a snorkel, Prime Minister to be seen there sitting on a beach. I think that was the best way to build brand, that if Prime Minister Modi endorses something or he sits there, he says that people should come for tourism, nothing works better. But obviously that will probably have a memory in people's mind when they travel. But yes, as Vikas rightly pointed out, I think the travel time has to be cut down because the connectivity to Lakshadweep right now, I think, to the best of, I tried it once and I didn't go, but I was exploring. The best connectivity, Vikas would correct me, is from Cochin, if I'm not wrong. Although there are flights from Delhi and Mumbai, but they go via here, via there. So I think direct flights, Megha, is the first step. Then the price of the flights, because then if for example, if you're traveling to Bangkok, some of the flights to Bangkok and for that matter to Pattaya from there, they turn out to be then quite cheap. So you need to make sure that the flights compare, as you rightly said, when you compare with international destinations. Of course, not Maldives or Bali or Mauritius, but we can compare to Pattaya, which is relatively less expensive because Thailand flights are not too expensive, or maybe Sri Lanka has a few beaches as well. So the first step is to make sure that the flights here cost you lesser than the other international tourist destinations. That's one step. And of course, we should not forget Lakshadweep competes with Goa, our own on the western coast. So therefore, competitiveness of the travel cost, because that's a big factor with the huge Indian middle class which travel. That's one. Second is the kind of facilities and infrastructure which you get while there. Although we saw Prime Minister purposely did snorkel because I think he feels that people think that probably Lakshadweep is just a bunch of islands and a few trees here and there and some beaches. But there are no water sports, there are no facilities. So I think the Prime Minister himself demonstrated that yes, there are all the facilities which you can get in a Maldives or a Mauritius or a Bali or a Pattaya. You get everything here. So why not go to Lakshadweep? And also he's sending another message because most of the population, majority of the population in Lakshadweep is Muslim, Megha. I don't want to sound communal here, but then, there is a minority population, majority in Lakshadweep, but vis-a-vis the country, the population is minority. So he's trying his best to make sure that people reach the places where 97, 98% of the population is a Muslim population, and you'll still be treated with the same hospitality. You'll still be treated with the same kind of facilities, same kind of services which you get at other places. So I think airlines, good hotels, reasonableness of the tickets, the economy of travel, I think that is a very important factor. And of course, how much time it takes to reach, because if you have to hop on the flights, Megha, if I have to go via Kerala to Lakshadweep, I think my flight time easily adds up to 4 to 5 hours. Vikash would correct me. I think it takes about 4 to 5 hours. Whereas I am traveling within the country, I'm not going out. Whereas in about 4 to 5 hours, I reach Thailand or I reach probably Singapore. So I think the travel time has to be cut down. And for that, for me, the magic formula in one line, Megha, is a direct flight at a very reasonable cost. I think this will provide a tremendous boost.
Definitely an impetus, definitely an incentive for those who are wanting to travel and enjoy the beautiful sun and the sand and the clear skies. All right, Sumit, coming to you, and particularly, focusing on how the Prime Minister has always pushed for, vocal for local. And this is one of the many instances where he has then given the due focus that Lakshadweep required. We took a look at a few years ago when he had done an episode with Bear Grylls, where he took him to the Gir forests in Uttarakhand. And that was also bringing the world's attention to India's nature, India's beautiful forests and the wildlife. Now, if such continued efforts are made, an example is taken from the Prime Minister's push by celebrities, by public figures, by Bollywood celebrities, by politicians, by spokespersons, it would obviously create the kind of buzz, organic buzz that we require for a place like Lakshadweep or several other tourist destinations which stay unexplored.
Megha ji, this is a very important step. What you rightly said, it's the right step in the right direction. Vocal for local, make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. There are the 3 mission statements what the country has. Look, I'll give you some numbers here. The tourist potential of India is $300 billion as per Niti Aayog's assessment. Today, Thailand gets $65 billion just from tourism. Sri Lanka used to get 4. And Paris gets 44 million tourists. And in Kashi Vishwanath ji, we have already 130 million tourists. So we've crossed Paris by 3 times. Look at before the Kashi Vishwanath ji corridor was built, you were around 40 lakh people going there. Now you have 13 crore people going there. You see where it has gone. And if you look at the average spending, 3,000-4,000, you can do the multiplication. 13 crore into 4,000. It's around $4 billion, $5 billion roughly I'm talking about. Now, if you look at Lakshadweep, it's strategically important for us to have people going there, to have businesses there. Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar is our access or our gateway to Indian Ocean. We are building a lot of strategic and tactical assets there. our adversary China is trying to get a foothold in Maldives, and a lot of Indian money is flowing to Maldives, courtesy Bollywood celebrities who endorse that place. Before that, nobody really knew about Maldives, and Maldives is not cheap. Maldives is damn expensive. I've been there a couple of times. So if you have something within India, of course, flights, connectivity, and all that has to be worked out. But demand creates the supply. When you have the demand being there, the supply is there. Today, a Tom Cruise goes on a honeymoon, for example, to Maldives because he doesn't know Lakshadweep. When the Honorable Prime Minister himself, who's the most followed person on any social media, on any media in the world, when he endorses the place, it brings the place into the hearts and minds of 1.4 billion Indians and around 4 5 billion travelers which travel the whole world. Suddenly, Lakshadweep is in the tourist map of the world, and with due course of time, what we've seen in Mahakal Corridor, we've seen Kashi Vishwanath ji, we'll see in Ayodhya, it will be one of the most visited tourist destinations.
Absolutely.
And here,
Absolutely. There I want to give you an example. Just a couple of days ago, there was international pop icon Dua Lipa, who's in Jaipur right now, and she has been spending her vacation time over there and visiting these beautiful places and palaces. That's the kind of impetus that is then given, because on a large scale, there are going to be tourists, international tourists and celebrities who are going to be coming to Jaipur. Similar is the example of Rishikesh. Similar is the example of spiritual tourism that we have witnessed across the globe. We had the Beatles who would visit India. There were movies that were made around India and the spirituality in India. We had the Julia Roberts Eat, Pray and Love. So you're getting international eyeballs. So
Yeah.
again, there are certain areas within the country that also need to be focused on.
Yeah, I mean, there are countries, you see, if you look at our tourism, the revenue from the tourism, we get around 80 to 90% of the tourism from in-house people or in-country people traveling. When you travel to Lakshadweep, first thing is the money of the country remains in India. You are not using foreign exchange to give out. In fact, when you have more and more foreigners coming in, you get the money. When Singapore can get 23 million tourists, when a Paris can get 44 million tourists, when Thailand can make $65 billion from tourists, we have a place which is much beautiful, much, decent, untouched beauty. And if we develop the infrastructure over there, we can look to get that market share. And when our people start going there, see the quantum of money and so the economic boost will get to that area. And strategically, it is very important to have a lot of people going there because it enhances our tourist potential.
Absolutely.
Look, 1.6
Absolutely.
million tourists was mind-boggling. Who could thought out? I mean, last year
Absolutely.
was the highest number there.
Yeah.
So
Vikash, quickly coming to you. Now, when we talk about Thailand and the kind of aggressiveness with which the Thailand Tourism Authority pushes and the government of Thailand pushes for international tourism, and here, I'm in touch with the embassy, I'm in touch with the Tourism Authority of Thailand, and they are allowing for these media trips to happen. They are doing these festivals right after COVID. Just at the end of the fag end of COVID, they started holding these press conferences, and they would be telling people that these precautions have been taken and there is no fear in coming to Thailand, and every single step they are going to be assisted by the local authorities, by the local people over there, by the staff to ensure, and there are a number of these direct flights that have been flying from Delhi and Mumbai and Bangalore and Hyderabad into Bangkok, and not just Bangkok and other airports within Thailand. So there's a buzz that is created, and it is organic buzz, and it is also an artificial buzz that needs to be created with the aggressiveness that countries like Thailand and Mauritius and Maldives do. And how can India, how can the government authorities, how the Indian embassy can work in this direction?
Yeah. So basically, all the foreign destinations like say the Maldives and the Thailands of the world, they had to create that much amount of buzz to get that much tourism in place. For us, India is a huge market. We have a huge domestic market that is already in place, and with small amount of push from domestically can help us. So say a visit like the one that happened recently of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. Now with that only visit, there's a significant population who has added Maldives, who has added Lakshadweep in their bucket list and are willing to travel to that. Now with once the connectivity and everything also improved. So what Mr. Sharad and Sumit were also pointing at was that the infrastructure and everything comes in place along with the demand that gets created. I think that this visit itself has created significant number of demand. There are people who are now searching for packages for Lakshadweep, how we can reach out to Lakshadweep and all those things. So I think there's a good pull that has already been created. Now all we need is that we set up the required infrastructure, say in terms of the connectivity, in terms of the resorts that are available on the property.
Right.
And I think it'll be a good hit then.
Absolutely. Quickly, Sharad, then, up until now, the kind of publicity, the kind of popularity that these tourist destinations have gotten, whether it is Goa or for that matter Varanasi, we talk about number of religious places, Rishikesh, even Dharamshala, we talk about Rajasthan. These are all, organically built. Like I said, a number of international tourists look at India as a spiritual touristic destination, as a religious touristic destination. So, is there then a push that has to be deliberately made, and the government of India needs to come forward? The Prime Minister has done the app thing. So it definitely looks like there's political will towards it. There is the state level, the local level push that needs to be required, and it is going to happen in quick progression. And how can the private sector then milk it?
Well, Megha, let me rephrase what you said. I'm converting the word push to marketing. To make it easy for viewers, the way I call it. There is a funda in marketing. There is a phrase in marketing we use often. Jo dikhta hai, wo bikhta hai. So what you need to do is to go. It's very easy, and there's no rocket science in this. All you need to do is, first of all, media there are two reasons why a destination sells. One is word of mouth publicity, which comes out of brand building. When people travel, they tell 10 others, oh, we had a great time. It's a great place. No need to go to Mauritius or Maldives. We have our own Mauritius and Maldives within the country. That works the best. And preceding that has to be a push from the media, a push from the government. So what Lakshadweep Tourism Board needs to do is to do road shows in different states. And I think the pictures that we are seeing on your screen right now, they are good enough. I mean, who can be a better brand ambassador than the Prime Minister himself? The Prime Minister himself is showing you the pictures of that place with he's standing right there. All we need to do is to do road shows in different states, and these road shows will work magic. And I think following that, people like Vikas can come behind and create packages. I think it's very easy, Megha. And after this show, Lakshadweep is going to find a lot of tourists.
Absolutely. At least we are doing our bit for vocal for local and the Lakshadweep boost that is required at this point of time. But I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast, and thanks for watching NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.